Hello, I'm George Hogenson. I'm a Jungian analyst practicing in Chicago, Illinois. The editors of the Journal of Analytical Psychology have asked me to say a few things about a paper entitled The Controversy Concerning Archetypes. This paper is basically divided into two parts. The first gives an overview of what I've called the controversy concerning archetypes, and the second part gives an overview very briefly of some new developments taking place in our understanding of Jung's background that may give us further insight into the nature of archetypes, or at least into the nature of his theorizing about archetypes. I find that many people work from the assumption that the theory of archetypes is well understood and well established within analytical psychology, and they're often a little surprised to hear that there is in fact a debate, a controversy that surrounds the theory. This paper is intended to help you understand what that debate is, what the controversies are, and what the potential for further development in analytical psychology may be. For much of the 20th century, basically two ways of understanding archetypes were dominant within the Jungian community. The first of these was a more or less evolutionary or Darwinian model. It was based on some comments that Jung made about the Darwinian inheritance of innate ideas. And you'll hear a lot, many times, and even amongst people who are very close to Jung, expressions such as the inherited innate forms of the archetypes. The other was a more Platonic view of the archetypes, that the archetype in itself, this basic structuring pattern that gives rise to the archetypal image, exist in a more or less transcendent space, very much similar to Plato's theory of ideas. Now, in the mid-1990s, the development of new approaches to the study of natural phenomena, particularly what was referred to at the time as chaos theory, later came to be called dynamic systems theory or dynamic adaptive systems theory, began to change the way that we understood many natural phenomena as well as social phenomena. It particularly changed our way of understanding what was entailed when evolutionary processes took place, or how order came to exist within natural phenomena. And around 1995, roughly, this began to show up in some work being done in analytical psychology concerning the theory of archetypes. By roughly 2000, 2001, this had become a major issue within analytical psychology, and controversy, debates broke out between the more traditional views of archetypes, particularly as evolutionary phenomena, and what came to be called the Emergence Model of archetypal theory. Emergence Model meaning that the archetypes did not exist in some pre-established pattern, but were regular emergent properties of complex dynamic psychological and natural systems. As soon as the Emergence Model was established, though, as a way of talking about archetypes, a number of variant forms of the Emergence Model came into play, and this added to the controversy that was already established between the more traditional forms of thinking about archetypes and this new development under dynamic systems theory of thinking about archetypes. The first part of the paper goes over much of this material and will give you a good outline and the basis in the literature for understanding what was taking place during this period and how it actually impacted our thinking about the nature of archetypes. The second half of the paper takes up other developments that were basically going on at the same time, but have only more recently come into play within analytical psychology proper. These involved new investigations of the history of recent, particularly French philosophy and its impact on Jung in his early development. Also, new research going on in extraordinary psychological phenomena, and also developments taking place in thinking about the relationship between quantum mechanics and consciousness. The second half of the paper gives an overview of some of these developments and will allow you to understand more about how thinking about archetypes may develop in the future. The paper does have an extensive set of references which will allow you to go deeper into many of the issues that are only touched on in the paper itself, and I do hope that you'll take advantage of some of those references to find out more, to learn more, and to go deeper into the theory of archetypes. I hope you enjoy the paper.